Hey folks, this is Jesse from the print shop, and today I'm going to teach you what EDDM is, how it works, and how to get started. And first, we're going to Google USPS EDDM. And what you're looking for is this website, usps.com/business/everydoor direct mail. There'll be a link to this in the description of the video as well. And this is the landing page USPS has for EDDM campaigns. One of the mass appeals of EDDM is it's simple and it's cheap. Down here, here's the price is 18.7 cents per piece for postage. That's really cheap. In fact, it's the cheapest commercial postage rate there is. And it's easy to understand, which makes my job today easier as I show you how it works. I'm going to click on this EDDM mapping tool. And here is a map of the United States. This is brought to you courtesy by USPS. It's a free tool and take advantage of it. If you already have some zip codes that you want to target or you already have in mind, go ahead and enter them here. If you have multiple zip codes, just go ahead and separate them by comma. And you can enter up to 5 zip codes at a time. You can also enter your city and state, and it will give you a list of zip codes to choose from if you don't already know any. And 5 is a very large area. This is downtown Austin, central downtown Austin, where we are located. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. On to 78701, so the heart of downtown Austin. And as I drag my mouse over here, you can see that there are some things being highlighted. These are mail carrier routes. So a mail carrier, he or she walks, runs, drives this route every day to deliver their mail. And EDDM works by targeting people in an entire mail route. So that's why they can charge such cheap postage and why this kind of campaign is very simple for people to understand. If you are sending a lump of mail to the USPS. So let's see this route. I'm going to click on this route. And there are 294 mailboxes on this route. So let's say I just want to mail to that route. Well, I basically would print and submit 294 pieces of mail with all the proper paperwork. And they would give that bundle of 294 pieces of mail to this mail carrier. And then that mail carrier would blindly deliver all of the pieces to every single person on their route. So there's not much sorting. It's very simple. The mail carrier, it's very simple for the mail carrier. So that's why you get that cheap price. The caveat is you can't do very finite targeting. You can do geographic targeting as we're doing right here, but we'll talk a little bit later about why and when you might want to do something other than EDDM with a more targeted approach. So if you look at the top here, you have different statistics fields. So as I hover over here on this route that we selected earlier, I'm going to go from left to right and explain what all these things mean. So on the far left, it says route 78701-C029. This is the code that the USPS uses to refer to this route. And you're going to want to take note of this route. If this ends up being a route that you want to choose to mail to, take a note of this, because this is what you're going to communicate to somebody like me, your direct mail service provider, in order to tell me where you want to send your direct mail. Next to that is the residential field, and it says 121. So it's saying there's 121 residences here. And next to that is the business field. It's saying there's 173 businesses on this route, for a total of 294 delivery addresses. Next to that is age 25 to 44, 33%. So 33% of the people on this route are between the ages of 25 to 44. And size means the average household size, and it's saying that there on average is 1.59 people per household on this route. Income is $49,000. That's average household income, and the cost is $54.98. Don't get confused here. That's not referring to the cost of sending the EDDM to this route. That's just referring to the cost of the postage for this route. And on your far right, you have your order summary. So right now we only have one route selected. We have one post office drop-off, which I'll explain in more detail later. And we have 294 total delivery addresses for an approximate cost of $54.98 for the postage only. And I'm going to show you something cool here, which is here, the one option you really have with EDDM is, do I want to send to businesses and residentials, or do I want to send to residential only? A lot of people choose to just send to residential only, although I think more people should send to businesses, because direct mail sent to businesses tends to be shared, anybody who receives and goes through the mail, which we call the mail CEO. Are you the mail CEO of your house? Whoever is going through that mail might not throw it away if, whatever is being advertised isn't appealing to them, because they might want to share it to somebody that they think it might appeal to. So mail gets passed around a lot in businesses. So if I click here, I can select residential only, and boom, now I'm only seeing residential, and that business field went away. It's also giving me an error code here saying you cannot send fewer than 200 mail pieces per zip code. So since I excluded the businesses, I only have 121 delivery addresses. So take note of that. It's a 200 piece minimum per zip code for an EDDM mailer. And usually a single route is going to have more than 200 delivery addresses. So that isn't generally a problem. And I'm going to show you something cool up here too. So this age statistic here, it's not static. I can change it. So maybe I want to target retirees. So now this isn't going to change who is being mailed to. All it's going to do is, now instead of revealing how many people are between 25 and 44 years old, it's just going to reveal now rather how many people are 55 to 75. So let's see. Now it says there's 13% of the people on this route are between the ages of 55 and 74. And of course I can change that, and let's see how many people on this route are under 24 years old. 34%, pretty high. And that's about all you can change here in view for the statistics. And I'm going to hover over this one. Now this is, I'm going to turn this back on to businesses just so we see that. This is very similar statistics, less residences than businesses. And let's talk about average household size, 1.54 people. That's pretty low, but we would expect that. This is downtown Austin. So as you get out into the suburbs, you're going to have people who have larger families, right? And that's important because you just want to take that into consideration. If you mail something to somebody with a larger household, more people are likely to participate, see your offer, and take advantage of it. So, and the income went up. And I suspect that the reason the income went up is because we're moving further away from the University of Texas. So we're having less students with little or no income, skewing our average income. And I'm probably right here because if you look at my age statistic, the under 24 percentage went down to 23%, which it was 34% up here. I'm going to select this route, move a little further down here, and we're getting closer to the river in the heart of downtown. So as you would suspect, this real estate is getting a lot more expensive. We're at 102,000 average household income. That's pretty high. I'm going to select that route as well. But let's just say that my business is actually located more over here. So I'm really just trying to let everybody in a radius around me know that I'm here. So I'm going to select this route as well. And if you notice these black lines here, these dividing lines, those are the dividing lines between zip codes. So I'm going to go up here and advertise to this zip code over here. It's going to give me a warning and it says, hey, you're going to have to do multiple post office drop-offs because I just selected a different zip code. And what a lot of people don't know is that each zip code is managed by a post office. So every zip code has their own local post office. And with certain types of EDDM, which I'll explain later, you have to drop off the postage, you have to drop off your direct mail rather, to the appropriate local post office. So now it says I have 2 post office drop-offs. I'm going to add some more. And look at this route here. Way different, isn't it? It's 650 residential and only 64 businesses. So this is definitely more, it's just a larger volume. We have 714 mailboxes on this route. And it's obviously more of a residence. And look at that age statistic. 93% of the people here are under 24 years old. So you'll find some really cool anomalies like this. Of course, we're right next to University of Texas at Austin. So that makes sense. And we have a little larger average household size. We probably got a lot of roommates here. And look at that income. $9,991,000. That's honestly the lowest average household income I've ever seen. And it makes sense. These kids have little to no income, generally speaking. I'm going to keep adding routes here. I got another error code. And it's saying your Everydoor direct mail order cannot exceed 5,000 pieces. Well, that's not true. And I will explain why that's not true. So back to the original page where we linked out to the EDDM mapping tool. If you look down here in the fine print, it says EDDM retail costs 18.7 cents per piece in postage. EDDM BMEU costs 16.2 cents per piece for postage. Well, these are 2 different programs for the same product. So there's really 2 different types of EDDM. EDDM retail is the consumer version of EDDM, and EDDM BMEU is the commercial level of EDDM. So companies like me, Print Shop, we have permits and the ability to submit mail as a direct mail service provider with the USPS. So I can get this BMEU rate, and BMEU stands for Business Mail Entry Unit. EDDM Retail, it was a program designed to make direct mail very accessible to everyday people. So rather than submitting your direct mail through a business mail entry unit, which is like a large warehouse facility in larger cities where they sort and process and intake mail, EDDM Retail allows any individual to print or buy their own printing, bundle it, and pay for the postage and submit their mailer themselves to a local post office. And you can see there's different postage rates here, as we mentioned earlier. Doesn't seem like a big difference, but it's 2.5 cents, which I'll show you in a minute. It adds up. So with EDDM Retail, you have this 5,000 piece limit. So if you were to print and bundle and submit your own EDDM campaign, you can only do 5,000 pieces at a time. With EDDM BMEU, which is what I would be doing on your behalf if you did your EDDM campaign with me, I can send as many as you want, 100,000, 1,000,000 pieces per day, it doesn't matter. And this post office drop-offs, with retail, you have to drop off your direct mail to each individual post office for the zip codes that you're trying to mail to. For me, with EDDM BMEU, I would submit the direct mail on your behalf all the way up here at the Austin BMEU, the Austin Business Mail Entry Unit. So I don't have to go to multiple locations, and I really don't suggest doing that either because you're going to spend a lot of time, and you have to make sure all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed and your paperwork is correct and your job is bundled correctly. And I really don't know anybody who takes advantage of EDDM Retail because you actually end up spending more money doing it yourself oftentimes. So because my postage rate is different, if you look at it here, it's saying 18.7 cents. Well, that's the retail rate. I pay 16.2 cents. That's 2.5 pennies. Over 5,000 pieces, that adds up to $125. So it's not a small amount of money. And let's go back here. And I'm also going to show you something that's really interesting about EDDMs. So this is the mail size requirements checker. So I'm just entering in some data about the size of my theoretical direct mail piece. And it says, I've met the postal requirements. Well, I just entered 8.5 by 11 inches. That's a really large piece of direct mail. So with Everydoor Direct Mail, you're also not as limited on the dimensions of the mail piece that you can send. And the reason that's so important is because I'm going to show you what a comparable traditional direct mail piece would cost in postage. So an 8.5 by 11 is an oversized piece of mail, which is what we would call a flat. And the cheapest rate I can achieve for an 8.5 by 11 through traditional direct mail is 35 cents, but you're not going to get 35 cents on the average. On the average, you're going to get 50 cents, 60 cents. And with EDDM, every door direct mail, I'm only paying 16.2 cents. So that's a dramatically different postage price. And it's definitely something you need to take advantage of if you're thinking of doing an EDDM. You want to do an oversized piece. Do an 8.5 by 11, or it doesn't have to be that big, but just do a very large piece. Your printing cost is going to increase a little bit, but take advantage of it, that cheap postage. And what happens is, if I send you an 8.5 by 11 in the mail, and then you receive it, you pick up your mail, go home, jog it on the kitchen counter to start sorting through your mail. Well, guess what's sticking out of that stack? That 8.5 by 11, and it gives you a lot of real estate in order to put more impressive graphics and draw attention to your offer. It's going to increase your printing costs, but not that much, and I suggest that you do so. So that's EDDM in a nutshell, how it works and what it is. This is your first step. You want to do research and figure out who you're going to be targeting. We call this a saturation campaign. I describe it as a billboard campaign. So if you're really trying to get everyone in a general radius around you aware of a product or an offer, or if you have a product or an offer that pretty much everybody can and would participate in, like restaurants and food, everybody eats, right? This is a great way to get the word out in a radius. So number one thing you want to do is this research. And I always tell people with direct mail generally, number one most important thing is, who are you targeting? What's your list? And then number two, after this, you want to figure out, what is your offer? Are you offering something and advertising something that's very compelling? You can't just tell people, hey, look, here's me, here's how much it costs. You're going to lose money doing direct mail or any direct marketing by doing that. You need to have something that grabs the consumer's attention and compels them to act now. You want to have limited time offers. You want to have limited quantity offers, so scarcity. Those are both things that play off the scarcity model. That drives people to action. And then the third most important thing is everything else, your graphic design, the format size, all of that stuff. So if you get those first two things right, the rest of your campaign is going to fall into place. So my name is Jesse Mansfield, and I'm CEO of Print Shoppe here in Austin, Texas. I'm just going to show you our website. I'm going to Google myself. Here's our building. Here's our logo. Here's some cool pictures, and here's our website. Fuel massive growth for your brand using the most proven marketing channel, print plus direct mail. So this is what we do. We do custom direct mail marketing campaigns for businesses to help them grow. Here's our phone number. Call us Monday through Friday, normal business hours, and somebody will pick up and get you to the right person. You can also click this button over here, request a proposal, and fill out a short form here, and somebody will get in contact with you to discuss your project. And of course, there's also this chat box, so during normal business hours, you can also just chat with us. So that's what EDDM is. That's how you get started. And as soon as you get those route codes selected and do your research, give us a call and I can consult you. It's kind of part of the package. Somebody here will help consult with you for the strategy of your direct mail campaign. You really want it to work. You don't want to spend thousands of dollars and not have something that is generating income above and beyond the expense. So my name is Jesse Mansfield, CEO of Print Shoppe and certified direct mail professional by the USPS. And good luck with your EDDM campaign.